Spring is in the air, and at Minky Couture, we're celebrating this joyful season with warmth, love, and the softest, coziest blankets. Whether you're cuddling up after an Easter egg hunt or gifting a little extra comfort to someone special, our luxury blankets make every moment even sweeter. From our Minky family to yours, Happy Easter! May your day be filled with love, laughter, and all the cozy moments you can dream of. Visit us online at minkycouture.com or stop by one of our stores to find your perfect Minky hug today.
Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Yo, Browns fans, what is up? Welcome to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. I'm your host, Kenny Mack. We got Blake Reneker over here, and we're going to kick off this show today to help you guys understand what happened in the NFL this week. And yes, I did say Blake was here. I am 100% kidding, and you're not going to believe why I said that, because last night Blake and I did an episode and it is vanished. It is gone, and we want to get this information out to you guys. I am going to do this solo because I can't connect with Blake this week. He's got plans tonight. I got plans this weekend. So let's do this solo. But before I kick this thing off, let's talk about YouTube. This is a video, so obviously like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so these things keep coming up. Josh did an awesome show on his second mock draft of this year, so don't miss that. He also did a little bit of a restructure on piece on Deshaun Watson. So keep your eyes and ears open for that 500th episode as well. It has been canceled a couple times. We do apologize. Just guys got sick. We got a number of people trying to get together and the schedules haven't matched. But sign up, be a part of the show. Every time you sign up, you get a chance to get and win a prize. And Josh may have something extra up his sleeve because you guys have been waiting. So let's get in and let's see what happened this week. I mean, it was the NFL Combine, so there was tons to learn. Like I said, Josh went over the restructure for Deshaun Watson, but we've got a couple things, and it was mainly quarterback. Specifically, Shedeur Sanders. So while he's known to be a pocket passer, processor of information, there's two things that mainly stood out to me. And you can tell me anything in the comments that stood out to you, not just about Shedeur, anything at the Combine, but number one, he was compared to Joe Burrow. Number two, and actually I should say this, he was compared to Joe Burrow a lot, I thought. Number two was the professionalism. It wasn't there. Seemed a little bit unprofessional and disinterested. There's a little bit about Cam Ward. There's a little bit about Abdul Carter. We'll get into those guys later, but there's a lot to unpack about Shedeur Sanders. So you know him. He is the son of Deion Sanders, Hall of Famer, and his coach at the University of Colorado Buffaloes. So let's get into these Joe Burrow comparisons. I want you to understand that this just isn't a thing that's said, something that they just don't have anything else to say, or they're trying to pump up his image. Let's take a look at the measurables. First of all, Shedeur Sanders. He is 6'2", he weighs 215 pounds, and he's got 9.5 inch hands. His arm strength's good, and he throws well, but not elite. Functional mobility, he's can escape, but he's not a runner. So that's very similar to Joe Burrow. Let's see where he's at with his measurables. He's 6'3", 221 pounds, so he's an inch taller, I should say, and he's 6 pounds bigger. He's also got slightly smaller hands at 9 inches right on. And these were two things when he came out of college. And you got to remember, like, the comparison that I'm making right now to Shedeur Sanders or between Shedeur Sanders and Joe Burrow is when they came out at college. So this is 2024 Shedeur versus 2020 Joe Burrow. Their average, their arm strength, again, average for Joe Burrow but they both move well enough to evade the pocket pressure. So who's got the edge here? Based on what I said, what do you guys think? The edge is pretty even. They're very similar size, mobility. Shedeur Sanders has a slightly stronger arm. QB traits. What's the number one trait that the Browns are looking for? Accuracy. Shedeur Sanders, he's one of the most accurate quarterback colleges in all of football with his high percentage. He's awesome on short to intermediate throws. Where Joe Burrow is, he does have the edge, and the edge is because he has the accuracy on downfield throws. Those deep balls seem effortless to him. So Shedeur is great here. It's just Joe Burrow is that much better. So the edge does go to Joe Burrow. Decision maker, mass processing or mass amounts of information processed. How many times do you guys hear that from Kevin Stefanski, from Andrew Barry? Hey, Shedeur Sanders, no slouch. This guy can process defenses, but he holds on the ball too long. I think that was not necessarily his fault. That might be the offensive line that he had in front of him wasn't that great. Joe Burrow, though, he gets the edge. He is one of the best pre-snap and post-snap processors in recent memory. He can quickly diagnose many plays. He was elite coming out of LSU, and he's that much better now. Pocket presence and handling pressure. Joe Burrow again has the edge. Shedeur is a good under pressure, but he takes more sacks than Joe Burrow did. Again, this can be kind of deceiving because we know that Joe Burrow played on that LSU team that was unreal. They had first-round draft choices as receivers. They had a tight end that was, I think, Randy Moss's son. They had first-round talent on their offensive line, and they had a first-round running back. So he had every opportunity to be good, where Shedeur just didn't have that. He had Travis Hunter, and that's about it. Arm strength and throwing ability, this is where Shedeur actually gets the edge. He just had a better arm coming out of college. It's plain and simple. They both have the ability to make tight window throws. It's just with Shedeur's arm, he gets the nod. Mobility and playmaking, again, this is even. We went over this. Both use mobility to extend plays. They both can sidestep and move to get the ball down the field enough to get close to or get a first down. Leadership and intangibles. I thought this was something that I thought Shedeur was going to win. This is something that I probably just heard all weekend because this is something that Sanders is going on and on and on about. How many of you guys can recall just on the weekend him standing at the podium saying, if you want to turn your franchise around, I'm the guy. If you don't want that, draft one of these other guys. But we see Joe Burrow 2 times a year, every year, and that guy has his huddle eating out of his hand every single time. He leads them down to the end of the game, and you can never count the Bengals out of a game because of Joe Burrow. Their overall production, to me, it doesn't matter because you're not comparing the same teams. The 2024 Colorado Buffaloes would probably get smoked by LSU 99 out of 100 times. So I'm not too worried about those career stats. The biggest thing is the outlook for their career and what they're saying. Right now with Shedeur Sanders, his ceiling is a Joe Burrow light or a Dak Prescott. His floor is a solid starter, top 15 quarterback. Draft prediction, you guys know he's going to be a top 10. Looks like he's going to be a top 2 this year. Whereas when Joe Burrow came out, just that elite processing ability, his ceiling was elite franchise quarterback. He is there right now. His floor was Pro Bowler and elite franchise quarterback. So you know what you were going to get out of him. And he was the number 1 overall pick. So what is your final verdict? Here's mine. While Shedeur has a stronger arm, he does resemble Burrow in many of the attributes, as you can see. Burrow had an all-time great season, but he had just a way better team. Shedeur could become very Burrow-like if he speeds up his processing and doesn't take as many sacks. There is a good chance he won't take as many sacks because he'll be behind maybe a better offensive line. We'll see. Now, the next thing up about Shedeur Sanders, and this is something that Blake and I were talking about. Is he falling as a player? So I don't know if you guys have heard this, but if you were all into the combine last week, I'm sure you heard there was statements that he was arrogant, that he was brash, that seemed disinterested was one of the comments that came out. Conversely, others viewed him as confident, positive. He also drew parallels to Tom Brady because he himself did that, and they thought that was ambitious. So, like, what was it? What was he doing? Like, the guys that thought he was disinterested, was this just a ploy not to get drafted by these guys? Or is this just something being said by teams that are hoping that he falls because they don't have the capital to move up? So once these mock drafts come out, sometimes when these negative comments come out, they can adjust their mock drafts accordingly. And I'm going to give you 2 examples. So these negative comments come out, and then guys adjust their mock drafts. So Dane Brugler, for example, he has Sanders falling to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And maybe Dane just wants to have the Pittsburgh Steelers draft him, and this is an excuse to have him drop. Well, if people see that, then they think, oh, well, he must be dropping, because Lance Zierlein also made him drop, and he had the Cleveland Browns trade up back into the first round of the draft to pick Shedeur Sanders, with the caveat of them keeping the number 3 pick, and they had already picked Travis Hunter. So not that mock draft number 1 makes a nice little rainbow fuzzy, like the 2 players that played college together, they also got drafted together. Well, that's a great clickbait for Lance Zierlein. So he's going to get a ton of clicks. People want to see why this happened. But it also gives a false impression that maybe Deion Sanders is falling. While this did get reported, the thing about some other pundits, Stephen A. Jackson defended Sanders, Dan Orlovsky praised him, tons of guys came in his defense, and even Sanders himself responded to his the comments of being negative and that he was fool's gold and that people shouldn't just trust the media so obviously. While Shedeur Sanders draft stock, so it appears that it may have fallen, but we all know, and just based on the criteria that I gave you earlier about comparing him to Joe Burrow, he's going to be a top 10 pick. There's no doubt about where he's going to go, and Shedeur Sanders isn't going to miss the top 10 pick for sure. Blake's take, he basically said too, it's a smokescreen. Teams are saying maybe that he's arrogant, so he could fall, so they could probably try and draft him, and that's about all we said.
This episode is sponsored by Butcher Box for Pets. Browns fans, it's about time the dogs offered you something for the real dogs in your life. Our furry friends aren't just pets, they're part of the family. And you wouldn't let yourself or your children eat strange meat from questionable sources, and your dog shouldn't either. Right now, head to butcherboxforpets.com/dogs or use promo code DOGS, DAWGS, to get 20% off your entire order. At ButcherBox, they believe in real ingredients. Their pet foods have been developed and certified by a vet nutritionist to contain 0 artificial flavors or preservatives. You get protein-packed formula with over 50% of the recipe comprised of third-party certified humane ButcherBox meat, plus functional ingredients like pre- and postbiotics to support your dog's vitality and digestion. And ButcherBox even removes the guesswork for you. Their custom meal plans are perfectly portioned to fit your dog's nutritional needs based on 8 factors, including age, weight, and activity level. I know my home wouldn't be the same without Odie, our 100-pound golden who thinks he's a 10-pound lap dog. And it gives us peace of mind knowing that we're giving him quality food instead of that factory processed garbage from the store. And speaking of the store, no need to add dog food to the shopping list ever again. ButcherBox delivers their high-quality food right to your door on the right feeding schedule for your dog. And you can change, modify, or pause your plan at any time. So head to butcherboxforpets.com/dogs and use promo code DOGS for 20% off your order. It's time for all of us dogs to give all of our dogs the nutrition they deserve.
Your old or broken phone can let you down when you need it most.
Perfect.
But at Verizon, trade in any old phone from our top brands and get the most for it, up to $2,000 in value, for an amazing new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and a new line on My Plan, and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. That's like a 3-for-1. And you can get it on any plan. At Verizon, trade in your old phone for a brand new iPhone 16 Pro, iPad, and Apple Watch. The other guys won't give you that. Visit Verizon.com today. Additional terms apply. Service plan required for Apple Watch and iPad. Up to $2,000 value based on iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch.
Spring is in the air, and at Minky Couture, we're celebrating this joyful season with warmth, love, and the softest, coziest blankets. Whether you're cuddling up after an Easter egg hunt or gifting a little extra comfort to someone special, our luxury blankets make every moment even sweeter. From our Minky family to yours, Happy Easter! May your day be filled with love, laughter, and all the cozy moments you can dream of. Visit us online at minkycouture.com or stop by one of our stores to find your perfect Minky hug today.
All right, so Blake and I did touch on Cam Ward, and I'll get into it a little bit what we went over. Basically, it was just how the Browns gushed over him. I mean, at the Combine, we know the Browns were highly impressed with Cam Ward. Who wasn't? His poise, his escapability, his arm strength, they're all standout attributes, things the Browns are looking for. Browns love his ability to extend plays, command of the huddle, command of the pocket. They're convinced that he's a franchise quarterback, and his performance on the field and his interviews solidified that. And you guys can put this in the comments. I'm not sure there's not a pundit or there's not a scout that was on a podcast that I didn't hear that said, one thing I learned is that the Cleveland Browns love Cam Ward. You might want to hide your cards a little bit. Maybe they know something about the Tennessee Titans that we don't, but I would. From this point, though, we just kind of, while we were shocked with that, we each picked a player. Actually, we picked two players. I'm going to kick it off with mine. Mine's Harold Fannin Jr., and he's a tight end out of Bowling Green. This guy's 6'3", he's 241 pounds, and he was just a bowling ball in the MAC League this year for Bowling Green. This guy was a consensus All-American, Offensive Player of the Year, and wow, you guys are not going to believe this. 117 receptions. Holy crap. 1,555 yards. That is crazy. Now, the Combine performance was a little bit hit or miss. I think some people were expecting more. The 4.17 second 40 was a little disappointing for some people, but the 10-yard split at 1.56 seconds is pretty good for a tight end, someone 241 pounds. Vertical jump, 34 inches. Broad jump, 9 feet, 10 inches. I'm not sure really why they do that anymore for the NFL or what it matters. Bench press, 22 reps. That's pretty good for a tight end. Short shuttle, 44.39 seconds. And 3-cone drill is 6.97 seconds. So where his 4.7 ranked was 6th amongst tight ends. I think people that want to draft him want to see better, and that could happen on his pro day, and that's something that Blake noted for sure. The other thing is his shuttle time, though, in agility drills, posting a 6.97 in second in the 3-cone drill. That was second fastest amongst tight ends. That's great for him. He's coming off the line. He's agile. That's going to help with separation. So that's going to be good for him. His strengths, route running. Fannin Jr. is known as a precise footwork and ability, known for his precise footwork and ability to create separation against various coverages. His hands are reliable. In the 171 career targets, guess how many he dropped? 2. That's it. After catchability, who doesn't like guys that can get some yak? He demonstrated vision, instincts like a running back, leading all tight ends with 873 yards after the catch, 34 broken tackles in 2024 alone. So that's almost where they play 11 games. That's 3 a game. Versatility, capable of aligning in multiple positions, including inline slot and wide receiver. I know Tommy Rees wants guys that are versatile. He wants guys that can line up all over so they can disguise and hide what formations that they actually want to use to catch defenses off guard. What is his weakness? The first one we mentioned, he's 241 pounds. They want to see him a little bit bigger. I think he's a gamer and you don't need that. His limited strength may affect his effectiveness as an inline blocker. We'll see what happens or how much they actually really want someone like this that can tote the rock well to actually stay back and block. And there is a bit of a concern about coming from the MAC to the NFL. a lot of guys come from. Like Kareem Hunt comes to mind. He played for Toledo. He was fine. He was not a tight end, but I think this guy is a gamer. Overall, I mean, Harold Fannin Jr., he's a type of player. He might not test well, but he does test well on the game. Competitiveness, toughness, high football IQ. These are all things that we've gone over and over that the Browns are looking for. He can process high amounts of information because he's playing different. While it's one position, he's playing different areas of the field. And here it is again. He's a gamer who consistently outperforms expectations. It didn't matter who the competition was. So, who is he a lot alike? These are the names that I'm getting, and you can tell me if you like it, if you don't. The receiving prowess of Isaiah Likely. Route running of Dalton Kincaid. Athleticism as well. Playmaking ability of Shedeur Sanders. Now, that was a guy who we were big on last year. So these guys compare very well to Fannin Jr., and he's someone I would definitely like to see on the team. Now, what we did is we went back and forth, Blake and I. I'm just going to get into my next one. This is not going to be a very popular pick. It is Kyle McCord. And Kyle McCord is not loved in the Buckeye State, but he salvaged his career at the University of Syracuse University, I should say. 6'3", 218 pounds. His combine performance, he participated in various throws, opting out of the 40-yard dash only. His accuracy, so he's consistently delivered precise throws with short, intermediate, and deep routes, demonstrating a reliable ball placement. Timing. McCord's passes were notably on time, aligning well with receivers' routes, so that's good. That's something that Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees are looking for. Arm strength. While accurate, some analysts note that his throws lacked the desired velocity, indicating moderate arm strength. Now, this is the one that I think he is known for. However, I'm going to give you a little tidbit of information. This is why I brought him up. Now, Sporting News, they awarded him an A. That's great. CBS noted he was impressive with his accuracy. NFL.com, 6.13. So that's basically for them. He's going to develop into maybe a potential starter. The thing that really knocked me for I guess I'll go into his strengths. So his strengths are his poise, displays composure under pressure, maintaining focus, and delivering throws even in the face of defensive challenges. Decision-making, generally makes good decisions, effectively reading defensive, and choosing appropriate targets. Now, this may be more at Syracuse and Ohio State. You guys can tell me that. Mechanics, exhibits solid throwing mechanics, contributing to his consistency and accuracy. Areas of improvement, we went arm strength and mobility. So here's the biggest thing that I couldn't believe. So I almost fell out of my seat when I saw this. I came across looking for a player to talk to you guys about. I came across a YouTube video. It was from Rich Eisen's show, and he was speaking with Jordan Palmer. If you don't know who he is, that's Carson Palmer's brother, and he has his own elite quarterback school, who Kyle McCord is part of. So obviously he's going to pump up his guys, but this is what he specifically said. McCord is going to start in the league for a long time. That is not what I would have thought of Kyle McCord. And aside from what I said of being a starter, he also mentioned that he had one of the highest IQ scores in the current style of testing that they do in the NFL. Now, he also went on to explain that with the test, they do a test specifically with a Wilson ball that has some kind of microchip in it. And Jordan Palmer has a partnership with Wilson. They've made these balls, and what they end up doing is they measure the ball in velocity, so miles per hour. They measure the spiral, and that's an RPM, and then they have a spiral efficiency. Now, with measuring what his throws were, apparently Kyle McCord is in the 95th percentile of all NFL quarterbacks, if you can believe this. And yeah, I get it. Like, can you believe I'm saying this? Like, what it sounds to me when I hear Jordan Palmer speak is like he should be the number one pick in the draft based on these intangibles. But if you want to hear it with your own ears, just go to the Rich Eisen Show or Google Rich Eisen Show, Jordan Palmer on Kyle McCord, and you'll hear it for your own ears. I don't know if I want the Browns to pick him. I'm thinking, depending on where he is, based on this information I've heard, I'm ready to take a flyer on it, guys. I don't know about you. Again, put this in the comments. What do you think?
This episode is brought to you by Bodden Sports. Browns fans, Bodden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Bodden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Bodden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Bodden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Bodden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Bodden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard games section of Bodden's website, where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. Pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Bodden Sports, BADEN sports.com/dogs, DAWGS, and use promo code DOGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BoddenSports.com/dogs.
All right, so the next two picks are going to be Blake's picks, and I'm super happy that he picked the first one here. Him and I always get after each other about Trevian Henderson and Junkins, and, you know, he's always on me. Blake always wants to pick Henderson because he's got the faster speed, but guess who he picked this time around? It was Quinshon Judkins, standout quarterback of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and he showed up at the NFL Combine. This guy, he's 6 foot and he's 221 pounds. He is a load. He started off, as you guys know, at Ole Miss, 1,500 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns, and he was a key piece to us winning the NFL, the NCAA championship. Here's the biggest thing that he did. He was pretty damn close to Trevian Henderson. 4.48 yard dash, second in the 40-yard dash. His vertical jump was 38.5 inches and his broad jump was 11 feet. That's pretty long. Again, I don't know why they always do the broad jump. Does it really matter? Strengths. So he's got visions, patience. This sounds like somebody who should be in a zone scheme like we run. Judkins exhibits excellent field vision, allowing him to navigate through defenses. Power and balance, never a bad thing when you're running back. Sturdy frame, balance make him difficult to tackle, often require multiple defenders, much like Nick Chubb. Receiving ability, he has reliable hands, making him a versatile threat. Versatility is a key component that most, but especially our Cleveland Browns, are looking for. Obviously, one of the big things he is not known to do is pass protect well, but that's why we have our running backs coach, Deuce Staley. The draft projections now, based on that run, is he is a late first round to early second round pick. God, I would love to have this guy on my team. Overall, Quinshon Judkins is the perfect blend of athleticism, production, and versatility for this running back position, and we would love to have them on the Cleveland Browns. The other guy that he picked, so that is Blake, he took a defensive player, and we kind of made fun of this point because we really don't want to see any defensive players drafted this year until the 5th round because we are so vacant on offense right now. James Pierce Jr., he is a standout edge rusher from the University of Tennessee. He is known for his explosive speed. He stands at 6'5" and weighs 245 pounds. But here is the kicker for this guy. He ran a 4.47 second 40-yard dash. You just heard what I said about Quinshawn. That is a 1/10 of a second or 100th of a second less than Quinshawn actually runs himself full speed. Now, will he be running full speed at the quarterback? Probably not, but he also has 71 tackles, 19.5 sacks, and 27 hurries in his time at the University of Tennessee. And he is regarded as a very high NFL prospect. Again, having a guy like this kind of sounds like Okonkwo that we have on our team. Maybe that's somebody that gets replaced down the road, or maybe that's someone who we're looking to replace. So, guys, we got some really good news, though. Joel freaking Bitonio is coming back to the Cleveland Browns, and this is the next thing that we wanted to get into. The biggest thing is like the offseason hasn't started, and it feels like we already lost, especially with what's going on with Myles Garrett. Wanting to get traded and just that constant harping about it and the lack of overall depth on our offensive line, it's just been tough, and this would have been another hole that we would have had to fill, but it's great news to hear that he's coming back. I mean, this guy is a key guy for our offensive line. Like, he will provide stability. He is the anchor of the offensive line, provides elite pass protection. Maybe not last year, but that offensive philosophy from Ken Dorsey just didn't work last year. And if we have to lose any other veterans, I mean, at least we got this guy, but with him rounding out that O-line, it'll be something to look forward to. It's his leadership. It's his locker room presence. He's a team captain. He's one of the longest tenured Cleveland Browns. If anybody wants to play hard, they want to play it for him. He's respected in the locker room, and he's a voice in the locker room. He helps the younger players based on what we've seen in training camp, based on what we hear the players say. His experience maintains a high level of standards, and that's something that we need in that whole offense. He is an elite performer. He has been a 5-time All-Pro, so 218 to 222, and a 6-time Pro Bowler, 218 to 223. His track record just speaks for itself, and he's consistently has high grades in PFF. I just wouldn't look at last year, obviously. Great at protecting the quarterback, keeps the pocket clean. His presence is important, especially in a system that relies on play action pass and designated or designed rollouts. He also obviously going to help the running game. Between him, Teller, and Poshik, they were keys to getting Bitonio and some of the guys in previous years, and hopefully we get Chubb back at some point, but I'm sure we're going to draft some great running backs, as we mentioned earlier. About the Super Bowl window, I don't know if that's closed. I got to see what the Browns do this year. We got enough pieces on this. It's just we need the right quarterback. And again, like I said, we avoided a huge hole, so it's a huge win that he's back. I mean, we got that veteran leadership. We got that block air for a running back. We've got strong pass protector, and now that's a line that can help us take a real shot in a playoff run. And if you guys agree with me, let me know. Like, what do you think about Jack Conklin, Wyatt Teller, Ethan Poshik, now Joel Bitonio, and I'm going to say DeJuan Jones at left tackle unless we get somebody else. I think that can help us make a run, and that's something that can protect for our running back and make holes for our running backs. All right, guys, I'm going to kick off the last topic here, and it's how, and I want you guys to actually put this in the comments too. How are you guys feeling about the team going into free agency? Because if you're me, I'm not feeling that great right now. I'm not sure really what to expect. I guess when we did the podcast that got lost, I made an example that Blake was a free agent. I was Kenny Berry, and we're sitting across from each other. And I got to explain to this guy why he's got to sign with us. And it depends on a lot of variables, right? I mean, do we have the money? I mean, we don't have a lot right now. We just got under because we restructured Deshaun. We've got a ton of holes to fill. So do I get more guaranteed money at a smaller rate, or do I give more years, like to entice some free agents that are really good? and I want to pump up the Browns. I'm the general manager. I'm almost a sales guy. I've got to be the guy that talks Blake into signing a deal. But what if Blake brings up the report card? I mean, obviously Andrew Barry's got go-to answers for everything. Last year, the weight room was garbage, and they made that. And maybe the one thing off every part of the list is going to be a yearly thing. So maybe he has that. And the biggest thing that I got to keep coming back to, and I've said it several times in this episode, Blake and I said it several times, is how do you go into free agency with the vacancy of the offensive room, just the lack of depth? The first thing you have to do, and I don't want to put down the player, but all you have under contract right now is DTR. And while our defense was sold out last year and had to play the most amount of snaps because their offense couldn't stay on the field, how do you explain that to a potential free agent on the defensive side? That's why I picked Blake as a defensive end to come over and help us out, because you're going to be playing a lot and be pretty beat up at the end of the year. So Blake was a little bit more positive. He thinks AB will be aggressive and he'll do what he always does. But one thing that he's doing, though, is he's not planning for the future, because these guys need to win now. And that was his point. Last but not least, I mean, we did kind of gloss over like what happened between March 4th. I think that's when he was supposed to go on with Josh and Justin. Up to now to March 7th, I put it in, and that was the most notable releases. So Jacksonville released a bunch of guys: Evan Ingram, Devin Duvernay, Ronald Darby. You guys have seen Buckeye great Joey Bosa. He was released. Raekwon Davis, he was released from the Colts. Punter got released from the Bills. And then Harold Landry, he might be an option for Jim Schwartz's defense. Linebacker from the Titans was released. And then a big one, Jonathan Allen from the Commanders. And we each kind of picked one. There's one that I didn't say, and I thought Blake was going to get it right away, and that's his boy, Gardner Minshew. He's not all Minshew mania. I mean, we got a guy that his playing style, his playing strengths, I mean, he's accurate. He's poised under pressure. Got great leadership qualities. He's a locker room guy. His ability to extend plays and maintain composure, that's somebody that a guy like Cam Ward could learn behind. And, you know, I picked, just in case we don't get Harold Fanick Jr., I picked Evan Ingram because he's a 6'3", 240-pound guy, basically the same dude. He's a hybrid tight end that you could use as a receiving weapon, and he's not your traditional inline blocker. So, guys, that's all I got right now. Thanks for staying tuned. Head to jointhedogspodcast.com. Jointhedogspodcast.com. Head to jointhedogs.com if you want to become a Dog Pack member. Can hang out with me, hang out with a bunch of the guys in the Discord. We've got a handful of members. They're joining up every single week. Jump in, get involved. The Discord's a blast. Get ready for fantasy football season. I know it's only March, but we got a couple dynasty leagues coming through, and you guys will have a ton of fun. Who knows? Maybe we'll have to give birth to another one in the next little bit, but we'll see you guys. So come and be a part of the Dog Pack community first and foremost, and get part of a die-hard Browns community, because it's a great place to be. I'll see you guys there. Again, thanks for tuning in, guys. I am out.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at The Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order. And that code can be used over and over. So you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. Dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.
Your old or broken phone can let you down when you need it most.
Perfect.
But at Verizon, trade in any old phone from our top brands and get the most for it, up to $2,000 in value. For an amazing new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and a new line on My Plan, and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. That's like a 3-for-1. And you can get it on any plan. At Verizon, trade in your old phone for a brand new iPhone 16 Pro, iPad, and Apple Watch. The other guys won't give you that. Visit Verizon.com today. Additional terms apply. Service plan required for Apple Watch and iPad. Up to $2,000 value based on iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch.
Spring is in the air, and at Minky Couture, we're celebrating this joyful season with warmth, love, and the softest, coziest blankets. Whether you're cuddling up after an Easter egg hunt or gifting a little extra comfort to someone special, our luxury blankets make every moment even sweeter. From our Minky family to yours, Happy Easter! May your day be filled with love, laughter, and all the cozy moments you can dream of. Visit us online at minkycouture.com or stop by one of our stores to find your perfect Minky hug today.